was a billy of tea. The winds blew up her bow, dipped down below, my billy boys blow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
Bancroft, what's going on?
Rob.
How are you, man?
That's the most excited point of the show, is when you say my name.
It's all downhill from here. Let's start a chat. Big boy Robo. What's up, dude? Skip says, looking forward to this, even if Rob shows up.
Starting early.
Why would you put Sully versus Embrace? You're tearing us apart. It wasn't my choice. This is what you guys voted for. You're tearing yourselves apart. Darkside is Comics is here. Good to see you, man. James Hayes. Rob, have you found a good colorist? We'll get on that today. Crackhead's here. Crackhead, did you see what I did? I started on time. Give it a try sometime. B-Rose is here.
He's a bit renowned for being tardy.
I don't know how he does it. I would get like palpitations being that late. Like 15 minutes today, Crackhead. I was looking. D-Wag's here. Mo Biggs. Good to see Mo. I feel very privileged that he came on when I asked him, Bancroft, not when you asked him. What do you think about that?
I'm very happy Mo's here because I've got something to share about you, Rob, that I hope he'll enjoy, and I want him to see it.
David Feed, absolutely killing it lately. Getting around to channels, man. Good stuff. Keep it up. Keep going. Mel B, your wife. Mel, can you get in contact with my wife so we can figure out a time where Bancroft, the four of us will catch up? Because, men can't organize things.
We don't. We just say, oh, yeah, we'll get to that.
It's like, I'm like, maybe I should invite Bancroft up this weekend. I'm like, well, do we have anything on? I don't know. That means I'd have to ask my wife if I have anything on. If I've forgotten something, it's just too much work. Camel Moon's here. I sent him a super chat today, Bancroft.
What'd you say?
I said, my name's Camel. I have no legs and I wear glasses. Something like that.
He has legs. Just because they don't work doesn't mean he doesn't have them.
Prove it. I've never
those
seen
shoes. You know those shoes? They're really thick sole. They were gold. Lifts. Yeah.
Stephen Rockwood, he's having a crack at coloring too, Mike. Well, I don't know if he's finished, but we'll see. Mo, I think it's nice Bancroft's hanging out with Rob off the air for once. Like Make-A-Wish, except Rob's hairline is dying. He wasn't here. We didn't hang out. Camel says, Replicators, where's my link? I would send you the link, Camel, when you send me the link to... what's it called? Camel Knights? That show.
That's a fair retort. That's a fair comeback.
Dave Brinks here. Eric Grant. It's skipped on me. Duarte's here. Scrolling down. He's not finished. Jaro says, well worth of super chat money, Rob. Yeah. The real Sean Crummel snap. Cool. What's going on, man? What's news with you?
Just incredibly busy. Who was saying it was Joe Ball. I was listening on Jeremy's show today. He was just describing his grueling schedule to be able to finish his 300-page tome. And that's the reality if you're an artist wanting to survive in this space. It's like, so rest assured, I'm always busy. Like, that's the thing. Like, who has a couple of hours to just, or even more, to take off and go hang out at Rob's house? I don't know.
Yeah, not me. I mean, I would.
You need to. I don't want to cut into your precious video game time.
you know it.
I was like, when's he gonna leave? I gotta play. What is it?
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's a mad game, dude. It's so good. It's so inspirational.
Sure
You should get on it. And I don't suck
yeah, and then you would never see Painted Death for 3 years.
I don't. Do we? I don't think we have to keep the fact that we're doing stuff for Visions secret, do we? Because, whoops.
Well, if you don't hand it in on time, you're not going to make it. So I guess it's no guarantee that you're going to make the book.
No guarantee at all. I'm thinking. I have found someone. I'm thinking of doing something similar to this. So, sexy chick. These won't be skulls. These will be like dead bodies. But that's what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work with the dead bodies, but yeah.
I'm so
desensitized
now.
Or are you going to draw it yourself?
No, dude. I've got someone. I'll show you in a minute who I'm going to hire. I've got someone I've hired for this, and I've got someone I've hired for the CG vacation thing. So I might show off both the artists as well. But what I'm thinking Ghost with the helmet on. And instead of a bikini, I'm thinking like all tattered and battle damaged from like a fight. So it's still sexy, but it keeps in with that theme.
Yeah. I'm doing something a little similar for CG Vacation, and that was on Phil's suggestion. Because I showed him her in a bikini. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but let's make it so that it's something only Ella could do. So he gave me an idea. I thought that was cool. No, she won't be there. That could be not a bad idea. Actually, sexy handstands. But no, I had an idea, and then he sort of expanded on it. So I'll be. I mean, you won't have to wait that long to see it. I'm probably be working on it this Sunday.
On the draw stream.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I'll see how I feel and go, and if it's working.
All right, so this is the guy I've hired for Visions. He's really good.
Shit. Look at him. He's terrible.
Yeah, he's awesome. I don't know why there's a grey alien, though. These don't even
Is his name Raymond Gay?
It is, yeah.
I like him. I like him already.
Mr.
Gay. Can you imagine that? Mr. Gay.
Mr. Gay.
Mr. Gay, you're in the waiting room. Mr. Gay, you're up.
Mandalorian.
There's rad.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's just me. Punt, like, how good's that? Is that his? Yeah, dude. Look at that. That's ridiculous.
It's pretty good.
I don't know if it's just me, man, but I want to win both competitions.
What do you mean win? Are they? It's not a competition, is it?
It is in my mind. Like I want.
What do you mean win?
I want to have the best piece in both books. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, you have a pretty good chance with this guy.
He's really good, yeah. So that's one of them. I'll find the other guy too. He's also excellent. And this is all subject to them actually completing the work. Think the way things are going for me, they'll probably both quit.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you're that Rob. Oh no.
That Rob, yeah. F that
no,
guy.
I thought you were, yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna find some of his work. Trying to find like a hot piece. And I can't. Scrolling through this guy's photos. I don't like it when people have like their personal lives on social media. Just like, I just want to see your art. That's all.
What are you on? Are you on Instagram?
I'm on Facebook.
I'm always surprised to learn that people still
Oops.
have a Facebook.
Yeah, I do. I hate it. Facebook's the worst. Jasper's in here.
Get off it.
Yeah, I talked to my artists on it though. That's the only thing. Ryan Johnson's here. Good to see you, dude. It's Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs. Sumo says, please let this guy's name be Loving It.
Yeah, you got Ray Gay and Loving It.
Shows happening too late for me these days. Yeah, it's getting like that, man. With all the changes to daylight saving everywhere we go. I mean, this isn't helpful. This isn't showing me off what I want to show. Let me see if I find that picture I downloaded of his work. I sent it to you and Crackhead, so it should be still there so far.
Real Sean Crummell says, Facebook's aiming to see what family members are doing. Why would I want to see that?
Yeah.
And Hail Mo Biggs in the chat, I see is chucking out some hails.
Mo's awesome.
You're turning a bit Ray Gay, it sounds.
Oh, dude, that's so offensive. You can't say things like that. Yeah, this guy.
Just did. Yeah, it's pretty rad.
Awesome.
It's a whole different style. There's two very different artists. This guy reminds me a little bit of who's that guy that Eric Weathers has a hard on for? He does.
Dude, I can't think of his name. Dave Raposa.
Raposa. Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Dave Raposa, which is a big compliment.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I want to try and win. I know there's no winning, but let's try and put our best effort in. That's what we should all be doing, yes? Shouldn't put our best foot forward, trying to make the best things we can make.
I'm just happy to be here, Rob. I'm just happy to be here mixing it up with all you top blokes.
Oh, awesome, man. B Rose has hit $10,000 Bancroft. It's incredible. Good job, mate. Do you know what's giving me like OCD?
What is that?
Have you not seen this?
No.
Yeah, so it must be really new. But it's like the featured perk is now up here. But for whatever reason, it doesn't go to the edges, and it's driving me fucking mental. Like,
that
just
looks
make it
budget. What is with that button? That bisexual lighting button. That looks awful. What are they doing? Indiegogo actually had a really good, cohesive, modern-looking format, and they've been playing with it lately, and I have no idea why. They must have hired someone who has to put their mark, on the site. He felt like, I gotta put my balls on the table here. Mate, and this is the result.
We're going to talk about the censoring stuff at some point today, because I don't like it. But what, Mike, you do graphic design. Why does this thing not go to the fucking
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because when you work on websites, there's two teams working at the same time, okay? The graphic designers and the developers. And the graphic designers, they make things in whatever program they make it in. It might be InDesign, it might be Photoshop, it might be Illustrator, it doesn't matter. And they make it perfect. You get all they do all the kerning and the letter spacing and the colors and everything. And they're really pedantic. And that's the camp I'm in. And then you send it to the developer, and then they come back with a dog's breakfast. And you say to them, you point out all the ways that it doesn't match up the design you made. And then they say, oh, it's pretty close. I mean, everything's in there. Well, then it becomes a war of attrition. Who's going to give up first? Because you're now, 3 weeks into the process of adding this thing, and you're tired of having to deal with every time he sends you something back, it's not quite what you asked for. And then you got to go back. And it's it just gets you down. And the developers, the reason why they're in development is, they're computer people. They're like coding and shit. They don't care about letter spacing and kerning and harmony and all that sort of stuff. So that's where you end up. So this is like the compromise between the developer's time and the graphic designer's sanity. This is what we get.
Where did they touch you, Mike? That was the most angry rant I've heard from you about anything ever.
I've been going through this for 15 years. And
Holy moly.
actually longer than that, longer than 15 years. And it's infuriating because if you go to the Apple website, it's the most beautiful website in the history of websites, and it's not even close. It's like it's leagues ahead of anything else that you've ever seen, and it's because Steve Jobs was an absolute design Nazi. Like he a psychopath. He would ruin people's lives if they had a letter 1 pixel out of place. And he instilled that culture at Apple, and they've continued that on to this day. But I'm not that guy. I'm not a psychopath. Eventually I will tire. I'm like, I just want to make my comic. I don't want to go into another 12 rounds of back and forth changes until I have to compromise with these web developers.
I mean, it's okay, dude. It's not amazing. It's not blowing my mind here.
I don't think that's their homepage, is it?
I don't know. It's their store, I guess. Look, it's here too. Are you guys, if anyone's on their phone, can people tell me if it's on their phone? I think someone said it's not. D says this is what he does for a job. Although kerning is the space between letters, yeah. Looks really nice on his iPad. Looks horrible on Rob's screen.
Maybe that's it. And that's another thing you have to deal with too. It's with everyone got different devices that they're looking on.
Yeah.
It's smarter now to develop for mobile and tablet than for desktop. So it's not as if you can't do both, but it's just some things do kind of, you kind of design it for one thing more than another. And then it's like, oh, well, it's not that much of a big deal. If only 25% of people are looking on desktop anyway, wow, what does it matter? These are the conversations that I had.
People are saying it's not on mobile, B Rose and Crackhead, but then Steven says he sees it on his mobile as well. So everyone hates this. Everyone in chat hates this.
I don't like it. Yeah.
Featured perk up here.
Not for me.
I don't mind the idea of it. Do you dislike the idea of it, or just the way it's implemented?
Yeah, I don't much care for the idea of it. I don't like the featured perk up the top is featured enough. It doesn't need to be actually up the top, taking across the whole thing. Put it back in the perk area, please. It's like, where are all my perks? Oh, they're over here, except the featured one, which is over here. No.
Yeah. I backed this the other day. Backed this cover. I sent Malin a super chat saying Rob 1, Malin 0, and then he backed it. So peer pressure is always good.
What's he up to?
75 backers.
Wow. Yeah. David Feed and Red Eyes is the example in my mind. It's the quintessential example of, you can have the best book out there, but if you don't have a big platform, not that many people are going to back it. If this book had 500 backers on it, I would go, yeah, that sounds right. Just by looking at it. But it doesn't. And that's, David knows that. I've said that to him before.
It's crazy though. Like if you were just looking at people's pages and basing like how many backers you think they had off the art alone, like you'd say like this is like 1,000 backers. Like the art's that good.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But that's not how it works. I often wonder, Bancroft, like because David is in Holland, I think
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Yes, Switzerland. I wonder, does having like the currency default to whatever Swiss nationality or money it is, what is it? I don't know what it is. Does that put
Swiss
people off?
francs.
Does that
Yes, I
put
think it
people off?
does.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I think it's
Like,
awful.
do you
We're
think
just
it's
lucky. We're just lucky that we at least have a dollar sign next to us, even though it's, or maybe we're unlucky because it's like, whoa, I'm not paying that much. I've had that. I've had people come back to me a year and a half later saying, there's no way I'm paying that much for shipping. And I was like, that's the Australian dollar number.
yeah, yeah,
And they're like,
yeah.
oh, you know?
Is it do you think it's worth, right? Like, obviously we probably wouldn't do it now, but if you're like a new creator outside of America, so like like this example, is it worth getting someone to host your campaign from the States?
No, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's affecting that much, but it's just not good user interface. You should be able to set your currency yourself like they used to have,
Mm.
and that's what you see. And no matter the thing, it's not difficult to do. They used to have that D. They used to have that, and then they send out a thing saying we've improved it, and this is what we got now. So, go figure.
I mean, the colors on this are fantastic too. I mean, maybe I should hire this person.
I told you that, Rob.
Who's this person? Who is this person? Oh, that's Farah. Yeah, I don't think Farah would work on my stuff. It's too violent for her. But then there's a naked girl here, so maybe she just doesn't like me. I mean, that's I think that's might be the reason. This is gorgeous too.
Liam Gray once told me, and I guess since we're not really that friendly anymore, I suppose I can say it, he thought that there was a way that you could set up international bank accounts through Australian banks for people who are doing business internationally, and that you might be able to use that to set up in US currency. But he didn't do it for his book Wonder Island, and I don't know if that is actually what Indiegogo needs you to do. I think you probably have to physically be in that country, and as well, I remember thinking it's a risk, it's a gamble taking shipping prices in one country's currency and then having to pay for it in your country. What if remember how much the price fluctuated?
It was crazy.
So that's like, it always just seems to me to be just a lot more safer to to collect money in your own country's currency for shipping purposes.
Yeah, I think like us as well, like me and you are definitely losing money by not having it in American dollars. Like you said, just based off the shipping thing alone, like how yeah, like what you said. Mo says Rob is handing David's artist to mail in on a silver platter. Yep. D says banks can do it, but it's shifty.
It's a shit fit.
Shit fit, I would say.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot of hoops you have to jump through. But I don't even think that's what Indiegogo wants. They want to know what country you're in.
But I mean, everything to do with comics is done in US dollars, right? Like, so if I hire someone from Czechoslovakia, they get paid in US dollars. Philippines, US dollars. Doesn't matter. US dollars is the default currency that we all use. So to raise money in not US dollars is really irritating. D says, I've not backed a project from the US based off shipping. Mate, if you lived here in Australia...
He does. He's Australian.
Oh, yes. Maybe if I could read better, that would help.
I've skipped so many books, D, because of the shipping. So many. I mean, dozens.
Yeah.
it's a real shame. But you're right. I mean, some of them are way more than the comic. You know, $20 to $25 for the book, $35 for the shipping, and that's US.
Tough, man.
You know,
It is
so
tough.
it's actually there was a point when the Australian dollar was low that you could pay $85 for just a single comic book.
David Feet says Red Eyes worldwide shipping $20. Wink, wink. I think, I don't know about you, man, but I think it's probably going to get to the point for me where I'm going to have like a default 15 US dollar shipping cost as an example, right? It doesn't matter the tier, except for maybe like the really,
Even for
really big things.
Australians?
No, not for Australians, but you know, just keep it simple. $15. I don't know.
I had one shipping rate on my campaign. I didn't have any. I was just one shipping rate. Oh no. No, I had one shipping rate to the States. That was 14. I had one shipping rate to Europe and the UK, which was something like 20, I think. And then the rest of the world was like 22, and Australia was 8.
It's
or
those
something.
Eastern European countries, man, that really mess you up quickly.
But you don't get that many backers from
No,
there,
you
so
don't.
it doesn't actually, you know, you could offset a little bit by. But I think moving forward, I'm going to do 15 US, whatever it is Australian and New Zealand, and then I don't think it needs to be super high for Europe, but maybe it does because of the VAT.
Yeah. Real Short Crumbles heading off. Catch you later, man. Good to see you, dude. This is quite funny, man. You mentioned the terrible bisexual colored lighting button, but it actually fits in really well with Mandy's campaign here. Can you see this?
Oh, you know. Yeah, I do.
She had an absolute cracker of a closeout, as you know, generally does happen a lot on Ethan's. But one thing I was really curious about was this signed Pit Gem Shop cover. Now, when it came out, I was on a stream, so I'm actually a little bit wrong about what I thought it was. I thought it was 100 copies only, right? So 100 copies of this Pit Gem Shock signed by Dale. It's not that, because you can get it without the signature here. But it makes me wonder, like, I was almost tempted to buy this, like a limited 100 kind of comic run of a cover that I assume wouldn't be reproduced later, signed by an absolute legend. Like, is that tempting? Is that kind of situation tempting for you? Like a really low run comic book cover?
For me, no.
Yeah.
Although if I'm undecided about a variant, I will go for the one that is less popular because I know there'll be less of them around. And that's just the old collector in me. But no, I'm not really, in general, I'm not really in this crowdfunding game to invest or flip books or anything like that. So no, I'm not really collecting like I used to in this new way.
I really like the idea of it though. And I kind of think that it's probably contrary to what I've said a lot in the past, but I don't know, 100 copies, $100 each. That's like 10 grand. Totally exclusive.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a fine idea.
Yeah. But obviously it's not what I thought it was because you can get the normal book here. But I mean, is that something that like CG people would be interested in? Like a really low run limited collectible? Jasper would be the man to ask because he loves his collectibles. He says, buy the Pit #1 Ashcan on eBay if you want his signature. D says, I like it when I can get a hardcover version. Yeah.
It's a bit of a variation on the old, first day backer book.
Yeah.
Like the Ides of March Cyberfrog book. But Ethan knew he'd probably sell I don't know how many hundreds of that thing. Whereas the guys like you and I, it's a bit up in the air how many we would actually sell of the cover. So
Ryan
you don't
says
know what you don't really know what you're getting yourself into if you don't have it, say, or if you don't have a limit. But on this one, you would. It's like 100. Yes.
Yeah, like I would be interested in doing something like that, but I don't think you can charge $100, like unless it's Dao
No, I
Qian.
don't think you can charge the same as Dao Qian. I think you're right
Exactly. Yeah, but like even if I hired an absolute like amazing cover artist, like as good as Dao Qian cover wise, right? Like that type of quality, I don't think even then it's gonna you can charge anywhere near it because
like
it's
if you
Dao
hired
Qian.
a Jazz Singh cover,
Yeah,
he doesn't have the name that
yeah,
Dao
exactly.
Qian has. It's like Jay Lee. Yeah, like if you had got someone to Jay Lee's caliber, yes, you could. But if it's just someone who's really, really good, but doesn't have that name, no. Yeah. But yeah.
Let's put in perspective. It's Dale's signature versus a less established creator. The customers will dictate the worth. Yeah, but I mean, to make that work, right? Like to only print 100 copies, you'd have to charge a fair amount to make it worthwhile. I guess you wouldn't, though, would you? Or would you? You've got to pay for the art itself.
100 copies. Depends how big the book is. I mean, I can check on Mixam.
Sure.
Let me have a look. How big is this book?
48 pages.
48 pages. Let's have a look.
Would you guys, for example, be interested in paying for a top quality cover for like say $50, knowing that there's only going to be 100 copies of it printed? Yes or no in chat? Just let me know.
Mixam is giving me a price of, this is in Australian, $874 for a 48-page book. So what's that? $8.70 each. Yeah, I think you could. I don't think you need to make it 50. But
what would you make it?
I don't know. Maybe you could make it 50. I think 50 is a lot, though.
There's still argument in CG regarding the quality of selling books or creator personalities on the YouTube driving the market. Yeah. Ryan says it's 25 for the book or 75 for the signature if you want to look at it that way. No, that's the thing, says Skip says. Depends, Rob. Would you overprint and sell the excess on eBay? No, you would. It would be 100 copies. That's it. That's done. So, like, even if you didn't sell 100 copies, you'd print 100 copies, and whatever else is that's it. There's no more. There's no second print runs. That's that cover is done. There's 100 copies. That's it. I don't know, man. I think it'd be kind of cool. I don't know if it would work though. Could we even sell 100 copies of one cover at that price, Mike? You and I, like that's a. I don't know if we could.
Here's the question I would have. Okay, you get this. Let's say we're talking Jazz Singh. Okay, you get this guy to make this incredible cover for you, and you sell them limited, 100 print, $50 each. That's $5,000, isn't it? Is that maths? I don't know.
What, 50 a book, 100 books? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you be better off just selling it normally and selling 350 copies over time at 25 a pop?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
You make 8,750. You know?
Cracker says, I just couldn't bring myself to spend 100 on a cover knowing that there's
It wouldn't be
100
100.
books.
100 you would have to have a real name attached, and he would have to be signed. It would have to be signed. So Yeah. Okay. Well, if we're talking Finch, then you could go 100.
Yeah.
I think Finch is in that realm. Get them signed Dave Finch books for 100, and then you're looking at 10,000.
Mm.
So now you're starting to actually maybe be in the realm of, yeah, you could make more
But then
doing it that way.
to counteract that point, I mean, probably a cover from Finch is going to be at least 1,000 by itself.
Oh, I think that's no.
least.
I think either way you'll be fine. I think either way
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
It isn't just a special cover for the 100 books. It's that black and white variant cover that you can get for 25. He's just signing 100 of them for 100 each. I will buy books with different covers. Looking at She campaign on variants, too many variants, dude. I agree with you. But Billy keeps killing it. So what are you going to do?
I was listening to a Jordan Peterson video the other day, and they were saying that too much choice is anxiety. As he was like, what was the question he posed? Yeah, if you had to buy a car, right? And you had the choice between, or whatever, a couch, whatever, and you had the choice between one, so there's only one to pick,
Yeah.
or there's 3 to pick, or there's 100 to pick. Which one do you want? You want there to be 3. 1 is not enough. 100 is too many. So yeah, like get a good number. Otherwise, it's just anxiety, because you'll never. That's how I look at it as well.
God, that's
But
a
if people are
gorgeous
buying
cover.
them,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. I think what Billy does wouldn't work for like most new creators, but it's Billy Tucci. He's been doing this for like 30 years. He's got a massive fan base. And like stuff sells. So
yeah, and the whole like how many variants did you have on your campaign thing isn't really an issue in my mind on crowdfunds, because the whole variant thing was against stores. That was the whole argument against it, was you're forcing stores to buy 20 copies of a book that they're not even sure they can sell one. Whereas this, it's more like mail order, you know?
yeah, I mean, he might do better if he adds variants on as the campaign goes and other stuff sells out. But I mean, what's he at? He's at $115,000. So I mean, he's killing it.
And that's just on Indiegogo alone.
Yeah. Miss Rena has absolutely killed it, man. I can't believe this.
Mhm.
I'm so impressed.
What are you saying, Rob? You're saying she's crap and she shouldn't have made this much? What are you saying?
I am saying that for a first-time creator, having 125 backers in the first 4 or 5 days, and $5,000 is absolutely exceptional. And whatever she's done, and maybe she can, tell us how she's done it, because I mean, I'm super impressed, dude. I really am. It helps that her art is absolutely kick-ass as well.
I really like that cat on the page.
This one?
It's a cool looking cat.
Yeah.
It's got attitude.
Send her the link, Rob. Oh, I don't know, mate. The art looks insanely cool. Goblin Girl is on its way to hitting 20K. We're super happy. Well, I'll bring it up. Crackett says, too many variants doesn't bother me too much. I'll just back the one I like, but having 30 plus tiers puts me off. Utilize Twitter effective. Yeah, I mean, that could be something I could do. That's really cool though, man. I'm super impressed. And you had her on your channel and she brought heaps of different people to the chat, you were saying.
Yeah, there were a lot of faces in there that I didn't recognize. So that was cool. The subject matter, a rocking a rocker. It gets even more. She gets naked down below. It's censored.
Really? It's
Yeah,
censored.
it's censored.
Oh, nice.
A like a rocker girl who gets into magic, and it's sort of manga inspired. It's a little bit weeby. Yeah, you're gonna attract a bit of a different crowd. It's like Reagan Lodge. You get a different crowd because he's got that sort of furry angle to it. But if the art looks good, it's cool and people will back it. As long as they know about it.
Goblin Girl is on the brink of 20 grand. You did a video today about how much.
I can't get over that friggin' featured tier thing. It's just like everything we've been talking about with
It's ruined.
Yeah.
Rob, she's a dynamic guest. Darkside Miss Rena is fresh with his campaign. Okay, very nice. Yeah, on the brink of 20 grand, $551 away. Very impressive. You were talking about CG killing it right now, Bancroft, on one of your videos, weren't you?
I don't think so. No, I was killing it with my review that RJ did at a listen.
Yeah, that was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was excellent. 5 out of 5 he gave me. I'm happy with that. Oh no, I was just talking about that the most valuable things that we've built over the last 4.5 years are what we should be focusing on and maintaining and growing, and that they're more than enough to keep this whole thing going at this point. So I was just reiterating that.
You have something you want to play me, don't you?
Oh, I'm so happy you asked. It's like a friendship letter to a good friend. All right, are you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna add sound effects to it. I think it needs a little bit of sound effects, but you can still get the gist of it. Hold on a sec. Here we go.
Just remember, everyone, Mike works very, very hard during the day.
It's called This Is Rob. Are you ready?
This is going to be bad. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Welcome to Story Time. Today we have a lovely book for you called This Is Rob. So let's get started. This is Rob. Rob doesn't like much of anything. Rob doesn't like fold-out posters.
So true.
Rob doesn't like feelings. He doesn't like talking. And he certainly doesn't like making new friends. That one's sniffing your butt. Rob doesn't like enjoying things. He doesn't like fun. He doesn't like jokes. He doesn't like laughing.
I like jokes. I get jokes.
Oh, yeah. That was until he got funded. Now Rob loves streaming. He likes comics. He likes video games. And he really likes grumbling.
Yes.
Almost as much as he likes sniff, sniff. Ribs. He likes the smell of ribs. He likes the shape of ribs. But most of all, he likes to talk about ribs. And he isn't the only one. But Rob absolutely, definitely doesn't like to share.
Lies.
Sometimes I think Rob doesn't like anything except ribs.
I like you, Mike.
Well, wait. And me.
You're the little one. You're the little. I'm
the little one. So we were reading this. I was reading it to Clark, and Victoria was listening, and she said, this is Rob.
My
This
God, that's so funny.
grumpy face. And I said, and I was like, we should totally do this as a video. And and then Mel made the little it was the whole family affair. Mel made the post-it notes, and yeah. I can't believe how it really followed your trajectory so accurately.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah, I'll
great.
upload that tomorrow. And
Why is Rob so full of hate? My God, that's brilliant. Can we watch it again?
well, wait until
Can we
it's
watch
put
it?
out tomorrow.
Oh.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. Just okay. Yeah, I made a cool thumbnambel for it. It looks very nice. It
Oh,
just says,
Jaro
"This is
says,
Rob," and there you are.
just give the dog. I'll translate it. Rob Hawk. Mo says that was the most entertained I've ever been by Rob. My God, that's great. Where do we go from there?
Yeah, there's only go down from that.
Best video Bancroft has done thus far. Oh, that was great, man. I can't wait to watch that again.
I'll post it tomorrow morning at the same time I posted today's one.
It's a little bit too accurate, though, isn't it?
I know it. I couldn't believe it. We just kept, because we started, and Mel said, "Look at this! It's a cute, grumpy dog." And then we opened it up, and it was like he doesn't like anything. And Victoria goes, "Like Rob," and we started laughing. So we're reading it, and we're like, "Oh my God, it's Rob!" And then it gets to the sausages, and we just died.
Billy says we should get this redrawn as an ash can for Replicator 4. Dude, maybe. Ryan says, Rob, maybe you can sue them for stealing your life story. Maybe. All right, Bancroft. Color time.
All right.
Ribs. All right, so
I want my baby back ribs.
we have gone. We've got 5 test pages of colors done so far. So let's go through them all. This was one of the early ones. What do you want to say about this, Bancroft? It's kind of all over the shop, isn't it?
Most of Replicator 3 was set at night or inside. Replicator 3 Law and Order edition in the courtroom.
Boom, boom.
And because the nighttime scenes allowed for so much so many interesting effects between all the guns going off, the red lights on their shoulders, the sword and everything.
Yeah.
We put in a big effort to make sure the daytime scenes had some equal level of storytelling.
Yeah.
We did that what do we call it? Dystopian green effect over everything.
Yeah.
That's what this page is missing. It's missing that storytelling side of it. It's like, yeah, Billy's right. It's like, what a lovely sunny day. It's very it's very local colors. It's not really what I'm looking for in a comic. And comics never were this. If you go back all the way back, comics very rarely just used local colors. They would use weird colors. People would be painted all blue and stuff like that. So it doesn't do it for me.
What I don't want to ask you this, but I will. What would you give it out of 10? And maybe the chat can answer for you if you're too scared of answering.
Yeah, I don't want to give it a grade.
Dark and green.
It doesn't look like the scene that we left off at Replicator 3.
No.
It just doesn't.
I mean, I'm a little hard pressed to point out things I like about it. So we'll move on. All right, next one. I mean, okay, so again, This one has a little bit more atmosphere. I'll give him that. Yeah, a little bit more atmosphere. Come on, man, help me out a little bit here.
Is there any chance that the person who did this will be watching?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
There's a lot of, so the last page, the coloring was pretty good. There was the rendering, and you could tell what was happening. I think he could have done better with the separation of the people. It was a bit messy, like trying to, because there's a lot of people here in this crowd. You've got to figure out a way to make sure that the eye can visually go to where it's supposed to go. Remember that thing that Gabe is always going on about? He says, let the big shape win. I mean, there's no shape in this, and not that much in the other one. There's a myriad of problems going on here. There's that atmosphere you're talking about is the fact that hasn't just colored the sky blue. And there's there's orange flames behind it, but there's a real myriad of problems going on here. It's the way too much soft brush. Like the guy looks fuzzy. On top of that, he's purple.
Yeah.
Like he looks purple. You can't just make someone look purple. That has to.
Same
I know
here.
what he's, and down there as well. I mean, why are they purple? I see what I think what he's trying to do is when you have someone in the extreme foreground and you don't want the eye to be drawn to them, you can make them blue or purple. But it's a very, you got to flatten it out. It's supposed to be to visually make the eye move beyond them, and they really come forward. That's not what's happening here. This guy just looks purple. The guys around him are red and silver. So it doesn't really work. And then on top of that, you got some red people behind them while the other ones are rendered.
Why? I don't understand that choice. Like,
it makes no sense to me.
I mean,
I don't.
It's almost the first thing your
of.
eye's drawn towards, isn't it?
Yeah, like, oh, there's red people in there, and that guy's purple.
Yeah,
and you see that would be fine in a Watchmen comic where everyone's sort of colored flat in different weird colors. That would work. But right next to it, you've got a properly rendered out soldier shooting a guy, and they're all in local colors. I saw Darius say local colors, also known as native colors, are what the colors would be if you imagine you just have a white light. So the sky is going to be blue, the grass is going to be green, your skin is going to be skin toned. So it's a color atmosphere without any storytelling in it. Storytelling in it. It's not something that I'm into, but if you're gonna do something, pick something. So this has got, in the top panel alone, we've got flat like a red color, which is one style. You've got making the guy purple but having him also soft brushed, which is another style. Then you've got a pretty normal rendered thing over there with that soldier.
Yeah,
it's all too much. It doesn't, the eye doesn't know where to go. It's being drawn into weird places. Like, oh, my eye's being drawn, because usually what happens, your eye gets drawn to the highest point of contrast, which is that rebar being flying through the air behind the really white bit of background.
Dude,
and then as well, but then
all over the shop,
your eyes going back to those red people.
Yeah.
And yeah, no.
If
you zoom out,
yeah,
if you zoom out, now you got to look at it at a page level. How does this look as a page? How does it harmonize as a page?
It doesn't.
And I think the answer is it doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, usually what will happen is with these colorists that you show me is I'll see they're doing one thing really well or two things really well, but then they don't do a few other things. I don't think they're doing anything particularly well on this page. The rendering is not working for me.
I think with colors, right? One thing I've learned is what you ideally you want to have your eyes be drawn to one specific point, and then your eyes want to explore other things after you've
That's
taken
called
that.
letting the big shape win.
Yeah,
That you're exactly right. And as well, the coloring is the point where you tell the story.
yeah.
The coloring is how you is where the person reading the book, what kind of book is it? What kind of feeling do I get when I read this? So it's a really important part of the process. So you look at this page and say, well, what feeling am I getting? And unfortunately, I'm just getting a mess. I don't really know what I'm getting.
You should really do a show about coloring, like explaining it, breaking it down, why you're doing this, what, just take a page or a panel and
We're
go
doing
from
that
the
right
start.
now, Rob. There's like Colors with Kurt will break all this stuff down into exquisite
Mm.
detail for anyone to watch. He's got so many videos out there, and he goes into every single thing I'm talking about with examples.
Does he do it for comics though, or is it just coloring in
He's a
general?
comic book colorist.
Is he? Oh, maybe I should hire him. Do you reckon he's about?
I don't know if he'd be happy to work for CG, but
All right. Okay. Justice says there are a lot of samurai and war books with similar coloring. That red thing they do, I've seen that before as well. Skip says Bancroft hates
yeah.
purples almost as much as black.
Now you can do this stuff. But it's got to be consistent and part of the style. And I'm not saying that here.
Ryan says you have cool purple in the foreground and red in back. Need to reverse it. Zaid Comics on Twitter. Miss Rena, you looking to get in contact with him? Scrolling down. Rob's already paid for it. Yeah. Oh, okay. So if the characters are standing around a fire, it will affect the coloration in a way that conveys the tone of story or the nighttime colors of Gotham.
Exactly. So if you've got a blue shirt on and red pants and a green hat, and you're standing in front of a really orangey light, all of those colors, and there's no other light source, all of those colors will be affected by that yellow light. So your job as a colorist is to know how to harmonize all that together into one thing that looks cool and works and tells a story. And so yeah, if you were to if you were to try and color that and keep the native colors, wouldn't do well, I don't think. It's usually one of the number one issues I see with most sort of more beginner colorists is too much native local color being used.
Mo says, I rate the colors 4.99 out of 10. Very clever. Skip says, I sent Rob artists from Kurt's Discord and Rob didn't even reply. Not true. I contacted one of them and got no response, Skip. So there you go. One thing, Bancroft, that I'm fully aware of and you're fully aware of now is that people can color a pinup, but when it comes to a sequential page, it's like they lose everything that they've done on that pinup. Yeah, it's like a single pinup is easy. There's one focus. You know how to make one person look good, but give someone a scene with different elements and a different focus point, and it just all goes away. It's all turns to
because as a colorist, you've got to be a lot of different things. You've got to be an artist with skills, rendering skills, all that sort of stuff. You've got to have an eye for a palette. So like I just said to Darius earlier, so you've got to know how to make blue, green, whatever color it is, harmonize with whatever lighting color that you're using. You've got to know a bunch of rules. That's color theory. And then on top of that, you've got to be a bit of you've got to be a storyteller, and you've got to be a problem solver, because the artist is gonna, and the story and the writer are gonna hit you with problems that you have to overcome. So let's take a page like this. So what we've got a scene here. It's inside. it's lit. It's all they're lit by their screens. This blue light. He's watching TV screens of a scene where it's a firefight, and it's all lit by fire. And then on top of that, this red guy here. So you've got to figure out a way to harmonize this page so that it looks pleasing to the eye. It tells a story. People kind of know where to look. It all makes sense. It works color theory wise and everything. You can't just throw things onto a page and go, oh well, I mean that's what the scene asks for. So even though it doesn't really work as a full page, then oh well, that's what it should be. Like you can't do that. This is the scene here.
Yeah.
That we're in. Okay. So it looks a little browner on the screen, but it's more of a green hue in person. So I've had to, this is actually quite easy to do. And I think we just got lucky that it sort of ties back in, but I probably actually, put some very slight effect on this guy to make sure that his colors meshed well with these colors. Like the skin tones actually match up quite well. And there's a rule in coloring. It's called 60-30-10. Okay. That means that 60% of your colors should be in one tonal range, 30% should be in another, and then you got a 10% of them should be a highlight color. So in this one, 60% is that sort of greeny yellowy hue. So you'll see all of their clothes have that color. They're all some degree of brown, green, tan, beige. Everyone. Okay, because we don't want anyone's eye being drawn up to this random person who shouldn't be the focus. So then 30% is another color. It's the gray of these suits. Okay. And his suit matches them as well. And then you've got highlight colors, which is the red. Now we added in an extra one here, which is the blue. It's not that much of a big of a deal. I mean, it's not you don't have to go literal with it, but that is how you will harmonize a page, by sticking to these sorts of things. You can't just go with higgledy-piggledy and
how good is
do
that
whatever
page?
the hell you want.
How good is that page?
That's one of my favorite pages. I was really
fantastic.
happy with how that came out.
Really good. All right. So moving on. Then we have this one. So I think this second panel is actually one of the best panels that, any of the colorists have submitted. I like some of the effects too here. Like he's put this like orangey tinge on it to make them seem like they're still hot from being burned alive. But up here, I don't know what's going on. Like it all blends together.
Yeah, if you scroll down, there's actually some good stuff going on in here. In terms of focusing the eye, the effects. You're exactly right. The light is bouncing off things it should be bouncing off.
How nice
I
is
don't
that?
I don't love that panel from above,
This
but
one?
I do like that it's at least telling the eye where to go. On the other ones, they were not successful with that. It was just like, where am I supposed to look? Am I supposed to look at this smoke? Am I supposed to look at the people? Am I supposed to look at these purple people? Up the top, it's just very gray.
Yeah, what's
dull.
the decision making there? Like you've got these soldiers that are silver, which is essentially grey to some extent, and then you've got a grey background.
Well, here's the secret about silver, and if you want to know this, just go look at Kyle Ritter. Grey is never grey, and silver especially is never grey. Try and take a photo of anything grey and see what happens. Anything you put near it, it will take on that color. Now, if that gray is reflective, it's going to amplify in magnitudes. So that's what it should look like. It should be yellow, because the light is coming off the things. When I did them in the book, they were either blue or yellow, or greenish, depending on where they were standing. So I wouldn't have them as gray. And if I did have them as gray, I wouldn't have the sky as gray. And if I did have the sky as gray, I wouldn't have the background characters as gray. It does. This in this panel, there is, you don't know where to look. And then the red as well is really red. It's like
Here,
super
like
red.
not bright red, just dark red. Is that what you mean?
Oh, it's just really full on. I mean, everything else is quite muted except that red.
I love this. He's like just getting blown in half. That's awesome. What would you do with the sky here? One thing too, like this, it's not, but I'm sure you guys can't tell on the screen. This just looks like gray. Like there's no variation in the gray. It's just
There's
gray.
a slight variation, but it's
You can barely see it.
Probably
Like,
not even going to print.
Like you can see it there. Like there's a little bit of texture here, but
Ryan Johnson says they did a good job of pushing the people in the background, fading them, sort of. I think they did it wrong though. So they've actually faded the people in the background who are closest to us less than the people who are further away. So those people in silhouettes, they should be the ones who are most faded. The ones in, there's that guy lying down on the ground, he should be less faded than those ones in black, but there's actually less contrast on his body than there is on those people in the back. So it's sort of like right idea, wrong execution.
You don't even notice this guy at all.
He just looks like he's in a, it looks like he's in a haze of dust. There shouldn't be that much contrast between the background of the sky and those silhouetted people. That contrast should be very low.
It's really funny though, right? If you're making a decision based off this panel here, I mean, that's pretty damn good.
I could start with this. Yeah, I could start with this. I'd like to see a bit more blue introduced to contrast with the yellow. But yeah, this is definitely a good starting point.
Yeah. All right. I mean, so obviously this is not perfect, but I think like there's good elements on it. Do you think you could work with the person Bancroft to make this work, or do you think it will be too much work to get it right?
I think Billy has it. Like there's there's signs of a lack of experience with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd making that work specifically, and just I wouldn't turn in a panel that looked like this. It's too gray, too dull, especially on a page where I'm putting in a panel that looks like that, which is really dynamic and fun. So there's like, yeah, you're good, and I'm sure you're great at certain things, but I'd be worried about, especially I know your book. There's a lot of really complicated fighting.
Yeah. It's going to get even more crazy too. But like, if you're like rating this off this panel, I mean, I'm saying like maybe a 9 out of 10 for this panel here. You know,
I would say an 8.
You could change the background, but the difference between this one and this one is staggering.
The rendering is pretty good though. So like, this is what I'm always saying. Like, hey, he's good at rendering. Like, there's not much of an issue at all there. Maybe some slight things. Jasper's just a contrarian. Yeah.
Do you not like this panel, Jasper? Is that the one you're talking about?
He doesn't. He likes the top panel, and he doesn't like the mid. He's a contrarian to what we're saying.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, we all have our own opinions. Okay, so this is the next one I got in. The second latest one. And like, these are good colorists, guys. You know, like these aren't just, you know, let's go hire someone because they say they're a colorist. These are guys that have done really, really good work.
This person is I think the best of the bunch that we've seen so far. What I'm
Really?
seeing, yeah.
I thought you
In
didn't like
terms
this
of,
one.
I have issues with it, yes. But I'm just um, in terms of what they're doing. Okay, so what are they doing with that crowd? Well, the crowd now looks like it's heading off into the distance. So the characters at the front are being pulled forward. That's what should happen. Really nice effect on that gun
Oh, that's
shooting.
beautiful. Yeah, let's have a look at that.
Um,
What like
they are
would this be an easy kind of fix? Like if you just darkened up the background.
Yeah, there's lots of things that you could do to accentuate these effects even more. It's like
Yeah.
at the moment, that guy looks like he's running in to tackle the soldier shooting. I'm having trouble visualizing
This
exactly
one.
where he is in the space. The bald guy.
Yeah.
The only way I know what he's doing is because his arm is behind the soldier's leg, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, and I like, if you zoom out, I like that an attempt has been made to storytell with the colors. These are what we were talking about earlier. There's very little native coloring going on. There is far too much white highlight for my tastes. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
is off the hook. It's like someone turned the exposure up
Jasper
to a
loves this.
crazy level. And the fact that that lighting doesn't change no matter no matter how close to the camera you are or what's happening, and it just seems to get whiter and brighter. Yeah, I have an issue with that. It's almost cell shaded with these rim lights. It's way too much. And
I would be interested in going back to him and just going, can you darken up the sky, make it a more bluey type color with a bit of gradient in it, and then seeing him kick up the lighting effects off the soldiers and seeing how it looked from there.
yeah, and on top of that, now I was complaining earlier that the red is too red. In this one, the red is too washed out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But color, like palette wise, if you got the if you got the whites under control, the highlights,
Mm.
and you introduced a little bit more variation. I said earlier the 60-30 rule. This is more like he's doing an 90-10, a 98-2 rule. Like everything is really tonally similar.
J.J.
Like
Abrams, that shit.
I think you could definitely tweak this and it would improve it a lot.
Yeah. Interesting.
Everyone though so far has had a real problem that I'm seeing transitioning from the first two panels down to the third.
But this is
connecting
a
them up
really
visually.
hard panel to color. I would say, like, if you don't know,
It's very challenging. It is very challenging. There's a lot going on.
Let's see what
You
people are
got these
saying.
guys right up in the foreground. Yeah.
Billy says, this is closest to what I've seen from your book. I like this. It fits with the book. Good lighting and shading, easily the most consistent. Rob, are you willing to accept there may not be no perfect fill in and that you might have to go in a different direction with colors than the previous books? No. No. Jasper says it looks like Jeff Lemire's art. Michael says, first one that drew my eye to the gun. Yeah, that is definitely the nicest one we've seen
Absolutely.
by far.
That's a fantastically rendered shot. Really good, really impressive, and Yeah, it would be a great selling point. I think, you know, if it all could look like that, all the blasts, yeah, you'd be happy with that.
Do you think, Mike, if I got him to make those changes, like the background with the red lights cracked up a couple of notches, that, you know, and the reds more bright and vibrant, do you think this person? It looks to me like they've got the skill set in drawing your eye to the
They
right
definitely
place
have
and the background fading out, that kind of stuff. They've got the skills for that.
they've got the rendering skills. It's very painterly. The way it comes across. They're clearly making an attempt to, you know, tell a story with color. Yeah, maybe. It's like the white highlights though is really throwing me, and it's like it's quite full on.
Tune down the white highlights. Yeah, I mean, you're really right. They are very white. And as Malin says, what white is the very last step to go
Yeah,
to?
that chick who's kind of like she's kneeling over there. That's really bright behind her. Like there's a really white light behind her, like an alien ship or something.
Oh, over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to read out Mo's comment. It was very funny.
Mo says, if you got the whites under control and added more variation, where is Bancroft? This man's an imposter. Dying Day says, Bancroft wants to bump the K values now. Something is up.
No, I don't think. I think all the.
Billy says, this one feels like after a few pages, he might fall into a good place of what you've shown. This feels like it has the most promise, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely feel like this colorist has the best grasp of what it takes to color an interior page of a comic. Absolutely. I think they're displaying the most all the most attributes that you would need. Even though I don't agree with some of the choices that are being made.
Ryan says, like Malin says, when in doubt, black it out. Okay, we've got 40 people in here too. Thing. So if you guys can hit like and subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. One more. All right, where is it? Here we go.
Now, this is my favorite, hands down. I mean, it's definitely the most in line with issue 3.
Yep.
Clearly a very good attempt at telling a story with colors. It's very visually appealing, the palette. Harmonizing blue with aqua, with yellow and red and purple and all that stuff. It's not easy. And the effect here, see on the left with these guys, yeah, there's the soldier and the 2 guys, and see how that guy on the very left, see how he's quite red? That's how you're supposed to do it. He doesn't look like he's actually red. He just looks like he's really close to us, far away from that blue color in the background. The people in the crowd look like they're receding. I'm now looking at it. I might tone down. I get the holds a bit more on those really, really background people, the silhouetted people.
Like
they
that
are
guy.
A bit too contrasty. No, he's good.
He's noticed, good, dude. He's got no lower half of his body.
A lot of them don't.
He's just a head with arms.
Your artist did that a lot in in Replicator 3. And what I would do is I would just match tonally, like the values.
Yeah.
I would just match them up so that, you know, you wouldn't notice that. So yeah, those silhouetted guys in the background, I would make them more like that guy so that it recedes even more into the background.
Oh, like this guy, like these guys.
So those people should be more like that guy.
Yes, yes, exactly.
But it's not a massive deal. But even though I did like what the colorist before did with that blast better. I think this works really well as well. And I mean, you might even be able to show them and say, hey, can you do a bit more like this? But I think that works fantastically on the page. There's just so much more storytelling going on. That second panel, they are menacing. Like,
Yeah.
that's an inferno. You know, you're really getting a sense of who these guys are just with the colors. The colorist did that. That is incredibly impressive. I would have put a bit more highlights on the I would have put more color and highlights on the bullets. On the shells. I don't think they need to disappear like they do. I think you can bring them out, bring them
Yeah,
forward.
I think it always
them
does look
shine.
better when they're
Yeah.
gone. Did he do it?
Um,
Yeah, he did it a little bit too.
yeah, but
Like
it's a different palette. But at least he's put those shine on it and everything.
yeah. So
Now,
what do we think in chat? Which one do you like? It seems it's either between this one or the one previously is what people are saying.
for me, it's this one hands down. There are issues with that third panel. Again, everyone seems to struggle with it. It's
This one.
Yeah. It's like they don't know what to do with it now that the action's done.
Yeah.
And you're just looking down. I wouldn't make the choice just to go with, I'm going to go with this beige thing with really contrasted smoke. That's not what I would do. I still think it's the best solution that I've seen so far, but I would somehow try to, I mean, those flames wouldn't just go away.
Yeah. You could do
That-
something like you scorched earth or something.
These guys could be on fire, and then you can, and it doesn't have to be realistic. You know, the fire you can just make it more orange, and you can, and then maybe the fire, maybe the blue sort of is creeping in from the right or something. It just get a bit more of what you've got in the first two panels happening on the third. Everyone seems to have had a problem with that panel though, so
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this one is the most consistent too, I think, over...
And
Well,
go
I
down
guess
to the bottom too. Go down to the bottom because I think there's some good things going on there as well. Not as good as the top two panels, but yeah, really far ahead of the others, in my opinion. In fact, putting them side by side like this, the guy earlier, you can see that white light. It actually makes it look really washed out, like overexposed or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Or on the guy.
Well, all of it.
Okay. Yeah. Some people wanted a side by side. There you go. I do love that effect he's done there. I probably will go back to this guy and just see if he can make some changes and just see how close we can get. Like, is he capable of doing it? It's his first try. I don't know, but I think this guy is definitely the best option so far. We have one more person who's doing it, or actually two more, because Stephen Rockwood's going to have a crack at doing colors too.
People are saying this looks on brand to Replicator. Yeah, I agree. This looks like what I think of when I see a Replicator comic. This looks like it's set in the Replicator universe.
I like the last two. Last one is a winner. The less vibrant comes off like a flashback in comparison, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I can see that. Last one seems the best by the large margin. 4 is the best with some tweaks. So that one before this, the final is the best. I think one thing too, Bancroft, is what some of the colorists are struggling with is making this panel look like it's part of these panels. Like, it's the same place, but it looks completely different.
Yeah, it's odd because this guy has all the skills you need. He's got them in spades. He knows the color theory, but it's like, this is where I say the problem solving aspect of it he's fallen a little short on, because he's run into a problem here. So the problem as he sees it is the battle is over. It's now we're in the smoke phase, and we're looking from a completely different angle. So how do I tie those panels together on the page? Because you're going to need to tie them into the panels below. So you can't just like that. And I don't think you want to, because to me, the story it's telling is some real time has passed when I don't think it has.
No,
And
like it's the exact
it
moment
should be like, I
after
think
they're all dead.
it's the exact moment, right, that they stop firing.
Yeah.
So I would just say, okay, well, this is a problem, but it doesn't have to be. I don't see any fire on those guys. Well, I'm going to put some fire onto them. You know, I'm going to take the initiative and go that extra step and introduce the solutions that I need to be able to tie them in. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to do so many little things as a colorist along the way.
Yeah, like as a colorist, you can take decent art and make it exceptional. I truly believe that. Like a top level colorist can do amazing things. Yeah. So I mean, I guess this guy is the front runner for sure. We've got 2 more people to put stuff in, but that's another point. Like, these are all paid test pages, right? So, I mean, what we're looking at, what, $300-400 in test pages alone. So making comics takes money, man. Like,
yeah, whenever someone says like, oh, you know, I need to make my comic so I can make money, I just go, oh, yeah, don't do that. Don't start this unless you're financially viable or know how to do it really well yourself.
yeah. But that's where we're at with it at the moment. So we're just trying to find a colorist, and we've got so much of it done, which is just great. Justin says you need to step it up, man. I agree with you. Rob said, Steven says, Rob, I'm doing this for fun. I'm not accepting payment for a test page. Okay, man, I'll take you on that, up on that for sure. Billy says, panel 3 could have the warm color for fire surrounding. The fires would be burning, giving off a glow around the edges of panel 3. Crackhead says, no more crusty Critias. Yes, man. Agreed. But yeah, it is fun. It is frustrating though. Like, you know, you just want to find someone who nails everything perfectly, but it's just not the way things work.
Yeah, and even Eric Canetti does plenty of notes for Jules.
He does. Yeah, he does.
On every page. So
I really like the effect though this guy's put on the skull masks, like that shiny glass look he's got. I think that looks exceptional. It's really nice. Like,
well, you can just tell him that. You can just say,
yeah,
hey, this is
do
like,
this.
it's like a really smooth, shiny glass. So this is what it would look like. Yeah.
And he's probably tied all 3 panels better than the other guys.
Yeah, it's still got a bit of red in there. I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Although I don't. It looks weird that it's gray surrounding them, like the red.
I
is
agree.
Just there,
I agree. Yeah. The fire washing out the guy. The mask looks sick. Yeah. It looks awesome.
A lot of these guys, I feel like they're constraining themselves to reality, and you don't need to do that. You can, if something can look cooler, you just do it. It's not a problem. It's
a
like,
rule
oh,
cool.
that's not exactly. That's not how it would really look in real life. Well, I mean, this looks nothing like real life.
Yeah.
So,
like, rule number 1: make shit look good. You know, doesn't have to be technically accurate to how the world works. It's a comic.
But as far as storytelling goes, it looks more like the others. Looks more like than the others that third panel is happening directly after the second one.
Yes,
in the
exactly.
Later ones, it looks like 5 or 10 minutes has passed for some reason.
All right, there has been lately censorship happening on Indiegogo, Mike, and it worries me. How do you feel about it?
It's annoying. It's stupid. I don't understand it. It's unnecessary. It feels to me like when companies hire HR firms. I'm like, why? Are you really that riddled with sexual harassment things? Like, what's going on? I mean, we know what's going on. They got in bed with GoFundMe and obviously sort of took upon their trust and safety approach to everything. I don't think it's worrying yet, but it's certainly the beginnings of what could become worrying. I think what's going to happen is just the same thing that's happened on YouTube. So I don't know if you were around back in 2011, 2012 on YouTube. It was wild here. It was like the wild, wild west. I couldn't believe what people could get away with saying on this place. And then eventually, bit by bit, now you get to the point where you can't say, I don't know, learn to code or something. And that's what's going to happen. I feel like that this might be the beginning of that on Indiegogo, where we're just like, oh yeah, the books are much more gory in real life, but we can't show that, or we got to censor this on the page, sort of thing, or more sexual, or whatever it is. And on top of that, I mean, why was your campaign allowed? You were the decapitation master.
I had three decapitations on one page.
Yeah, we could fit all three on one like thing when you scroll down.
And that's the thing, man. Like, it's going to cost people like me. It's going to cost me money because it's going to stop me putting my best, what I think are my best pages from issue 4 on the campaign. Like, take this one, for example. It's not colored yet. It's coming a little blurry. Sorry, guys. But, like, this is beautiful. She's absolutely destroying this guy, right? His face is half pancaked. There's blood flying everywhere. If I'm not allowed to put this on, like, that's going to hurt me. It's going to hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And there was another guy who got done. It was Sim. Sim got done because he had a naked ass, like a drawn naked ass, not a real woman's ass. And on top of that, it didn't look like, it wasn't meant to be particularly realistic. It was like a comic book kind of ass. And someone pointed out, there's a blowjob machine that's raised $640,000 on Indiegogo. A blowjob machine. And there's a video of a woman, I mean, it's kind of cut off, given BJs on Indiegogo. So
I
it's
don't
like,
get it.
what are the rules here?
Yeah. I mean, I said this before, but we're living in a world where art is censored and men are wearing skirts. I don't get it. It's not my thing. It's weird. Dave says, weird thing is that IGG doesn't care about minor nudity or comic book violence until someone flags it. So apparently all is okay until someone willingly sabotages it. I don't know if that's true. From my understanding, it's an automatic thing. It's not someone actually flagging it. But that's what happens, man, when you false flag campaigns, whether it's true or not. Like, you take that heat now. People think that you're flagging everyone's campaign. People want to link
Google
to
it.
the
It's actually quite big. It's called the
what's it called?
It's got a recognizable name. Actually, it's called Replicator.
It is not. It is not.
Well, you Google, if you go to Indiegogo and search Replicator, you'll find it. It'll be in the top 3.
No.
No. And they did like thousands and thousands of research, hours of research, and to get this thing to like do proper.
Oh my
Bring it up.
god! Hang on, can we go back? I typed in replicator, right?
Yeah,
I'm here.
there it is.
It's
You're
here.
there.
I'm
It's
right.
there.
It's oh my god! It's right next to my stuff. What? Why is there a Joe Rogan thing
Because
here?
he talked about it.
Oh
He
my
saw it. It's
god!
gone viral. Like, it's not just a thing. Like, it's, if you scroll down, you can see how it actually functions. It's got a machine in it that does all these sorts of different things.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like, that's explicit. I know it's implied, but we all know what that's supposed to be.
What is
Yeah.
that?
Well, that's like the inside of a. It's where you look. There's a drawing of a penis right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, look, yes, look, it's even got the little
Yeah.
slit.
Tip. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it talks about fluids and blah blah blah. If you scroll down,
Oh
yeah,
my!
it goes in. So these are all these
Can,
pre-programmed AI experiences.
can you guys can read this in the chat, yeah? Grateful, grateful.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Don't scroll too far down. You see, there we go. Like that video there, you can't
Yeah.
see anything. It's the top.
Oh
of
my
the screen.
god!
That's on Indiegogo.
Dude. This made $772,513 from nearly 6,000 backers. How does Shane Davis
how many
not
of them
know
were
about
you?
this?
Yeah, I know. We got to get this for Shane.
We're gonna. Oh, could you imagine? Like if he opened up his mail live on a stream and this was there, that would be great. We've got to make that happen. Oh, and there's only one perk you can get. Oh no, there's this one too.
It's the machine.
2. Yeah.
The auto blow.
No wonder it comes like a 2-for-1 pack. Do you like buy one and get one for your friend? My God, this is crazy. A lot of money, Dave, that made. This Billy says this brings new meaning to the phrase stretch goal. I sense a new replicator perk. My God, dude. I don't even know. Like, how does that make sense that you can censor like a chick's butt that's drawn, like art form, not a photo, art, but then you can have a machine with a video of a chick doing that motion, and that's fine. I don't get it.
It makes no sense. Well, it's because it makes no sense. It's Did you read Mo's comment?
One size fits all. Rod and James excluded.
Oh, do you know who James is?
That's B Rose's boyfriend, yeah?
No, B Rose's girlfriend's boyfriend, fiance's boyfriend.
Right.
Allegedly. I think B Rose has gone to bed. So we can say that.
God, Dine Day says it's called Synergy, Rob. A cross promotion opportunity awaits. Just put a red skull
they
on
made
it.
5,000. All you need are like 10% of those backers, and you would be a massive campaign. Did you like the AI replicating blowjob machine? Well, you might like Replicator. Yeah. Yeah, they do say that.
Wow.
They because they wanted to know the difference, because it's like pre-programmed. Well, they say it's AI. Like, I don't know. It's probably not, but it's like pre-programmed with different techniques. It doesn't just like grab your thing and just start yanking on it. It does things.
How would you
apparently
explain that to your missus? It's just not.
Yeah, what's this? What did I find in your garage, in your shed?
AI BJ.
You're like, oh, it's my BJ robot.
Someone has to let Shane know about that because I feel like that would be like a 4-hour stream just on that alone.
Yeah.
That's
It's
amazing.
right up his alley.
Yeah. You know how, Mike, you steal people's content all the time and you love it. It's like your favorite thing
What are
to
you talking
do.
about? Never done that.
Here is a section of questions or response comments from a question you asked. Why don't we have a quick look through, see how much you actually like it when people take your content, Mike? What do you think about that? Hey, what do you think about that, Mike?
I've already selected which one of these that I will do videos on. So,
all right. Oh, here we go. Skip Edwards art. I'm trying to make a friend and haven't had that friend read my script. May I have 5 minutes of your time, Mike? What do you think about that one?
no.
Eric Grant says, this made my day more interesting. I can't say I'd learned about crowdfunding AI blowjobs when I woke up this morning. I would be afraid it rips my thing apart. I would have to go to the hospital with a massive towel between my legs.
Yeah, what's their experience with making this sort of thing? That's the question. I mean, you got to weigh up how desperate you are for a robotic BJ versus explaining that.
Mo, how would you explain that to the missus? Remember when I bought you that dishwasher to make your work easier? Is clickbait always justified? Is there a line? No.
Well, the only line is if it starts hurting your channel. If you did clickbait all the time, I've inadvertently done clickbait. For instance, the Twister thing, that was clickbait. I didn't mean to do it. I just thought it was a funny image. But people came looking for Twister and they didn't find any.
Time of Dying says, I've noticed there are a lot more sexy comics on Kickstarter than Indiegogo. Can you explain this? What's your opinion on nudity and full-on sexuality in comics, indie or mainstream?
I hadn't planned on answering that because I don't know the answer. I don't know what the difference is between Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
Well, I mean,
So I can't
Kickstarter,
explain
you have to censor stuff as well. So it might be just the platform's bigger. That's why people are choosing it.
And as for my opinion on nudity, I mean, I'm open to drawing dongs. Let's just leave it at that.
Drawing dongs, touching dongs.
Touching dongs?
Oh, what questions were you going to answer so we can have a look at them? Which one?
Well, go to the top. What made you do what you're doing? What are the biggest obstacles you've come across? I'll probably do that. And then I might do another one where he's like, how do you spend... Hang on. How long did you spend creating and refining your world?
Not very long in your case, because you haven't even thought about the bloody water, the poison water outside Gilgamesh's island.
Over a decade, Rob. Yeah, I'll probably dig into that. That might be 2 or 3 videos. His question. I'll answer Lord Crackhead's. When it comes to the big cinematic double page spreads, are these something you work in during the writing process, or do they develop naturally as you're drawing? I probably won't answer how firm is the rod. But you know what I will do? For certain questions, maybe one like that, definitely one like that, actually. I'm going to do like a quick fire video where I will answer that stuff.
How firm the rod is.
Yeah. Fun stuff, you know. Yeah, Billy says Kickstarter loves the titty books, especially if you have a dozen or so variants. Yeah, I was approached by someone who had a titty book.
Was it Patriotica?
No, I'd never heard of it. and they asked me a bunch of times to come on the show, and the art was good, but I mean, it was a full-on titty book. I couldn't see any reason for the story to exist other than just chicks with their tits out doing things.
What was it
I mean,
called?
really out, just tits out the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I don't know about this.
I wonder what it was called.
Can't remember.
For research.
It's not anyone that I've seen around, hanging around, or anything like that. Like I said no to Clint for his more sexually explicit ones.
Clint Helinsky.
Clint Helinsky, yeah.
Mm.
He's still the only stream I ever got taken down and couldn't get it back up.
Oh wow. KSSS asked Mike, who is the ginger shit chick? Will she be replacing Rob?
Well, that's the chick in the picture.
She up here?
Yeah. And you said, I was like, you would say she's flat.
Flat. 4 out of 10.
Dying Day says, Bancroft said, come back when you got a dong book.
Bancroft, do you think CG will thrive or survive without regular injections of controversy? Without controversy, will CG simply become crowdfunded independent comics? Also, is that necessarily a bad thing? I think CG does thrive on controversy. I think if there isn't controversy, that people will look for it, and they'll look for it in places where it's not, and they'll make controversy, even if they don't intend to.
Did you watch the video I did today, Rob?
No, I didn't watch it at all.
Did you look at the title of it?
I know you answered this question.
Okay, all right. I was just wanting to find out.
It means Sweetcast's titty book. I can't imagine the Clint doing a titty book. Billy says, I think titty books do well on Kickstarter because Lady Death is a big fish over there. Yeah, that's true too.
I don't really consider Lady Death to be a titty book. That's more like Vampirella is just like a very scantily clad, big tittied woman. I'm talking about like porno books, except they're not having sex, at least not graphically. They probably are having sex, but it's sort of done silhouetted. But the rest of the time, they're just tits out everywhere.
Oh, this is a good one. Who's your favorite CG pro artist YouTuber?
Well, and then he asked, and why is it Shane Davis?
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer that question.
That is
There's
so
no way
lame.
of winning.
That is so lame. My favorite YouTuber is
fine. My favorite CG pro artist is Kenneth Rocafort.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite YouTuber is also Malin. Yes.
Yeah.
But he might actually be one of my favorite artists. I'd like to see what Godlike is like. This is something about Malin's art. I just dig it. It's a bit like Malin isn't the he doesn't do really intricate faces or that sort of stuff. He's got he's like a student of Rob Liefeld. His proportions and anatomy is exaggerated and stuff. But I dig that. It's like Kirby.
I feel Malin's
comic booky about it.
I feel Malin's attitude in his art, like
his
personality. I feel that through his art. I really do. I think he's hilarious too.
I
think he's actually really smart, dude. I think he's smarter than what people think he is.
No, I like he has good fun on YouTube, and I like that.
Kelsey for me all the way. Art or YouTube, Billy?
Kelsey's actually great in both.
Yeah, he
but
is.
For me, it's just like Kenneth or Malin is just like really hard to get past Kenneth for art. Really hard.
Kelsey's one of those people that you always want to hang out with.
But Kelsey could crush the YouTube game if he was consistent. Absolutely crush it. He just, he's a spirit all his own.
Big Boy Robo says, I'm here on the Aussie side of CG to avoid controversy. I'm sick of it. I mean, CG because the mainstream blows. Yeah, I think there's always going to be some here. I think, it works too well not
I
to go after it.
interpreted Antoine's question to sort of mean that, as in what the SJWs are doing is the controversy.
Yeah.
And they led people to form Comicsgate in the first place. If there was no SJW Marvel, there would be no Comicsgate. I think we can all probably agree on that. So that's how I interpret it, at least. I'm not thinking drama, especially internal drama. I think that actually hurts everyone in the long run.
Constant drama.
Yeah. Especially infighting.
The infighting. And I think, dude, like, I think when there's not drama, people look for, they don't look for it, but they take things that aren't meant to be controversial, or they take things that people have said out of context sometimes and make things that aren't there out of it. That's what I think. How does one decide which of their ideas for an IP has the best chance of being liked and backed?
That's a good question. I didn't have that one in, but I'm going to add that. That's a really good question.
So I'm doing your work again for you.
You can answer it now. I'll see if I'll include any of what you say in my video.
I would never write something specifically because I think it's going to be popular. I just don't think in comics, in independent comics, you can go through the whole process of making that comic unless it's something you absolutely love. Right? So my first decision of which IP to use will be the one I love the most, I'm most passionate about.
Yeah, if you like things that are popular, there's a good chance that what you like is going to be liked by other people. So if you really like what you're doing, there's a good chance that other people are going to like it as well, especially if you have good taste. I do think, especially once you start getting books out, I mean, I've experienced it with just one book. You get a feel of what people are into more than others. And yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm not making certain decisions based on that. I am. Not massive decisions, though. Not like story changing or anything like that. Just like certain focuses here or there. But that's a good question that I would like to touch on. Like, how do you from the beginning?
What about, though, Bancroft? Like, are you making choices about how the crowd reacts to a certain character, about their role in the book? Like, so say you've got a backup character that becomes really popular. Are you factoring that into the story somehow? Like, are you increasing their
yes, I do. I do, and I would, but not like to a monumental degree. Just sort of like, oh, people really into this. Is there a way that I can make this work and make the story better? I mean, you think you can always make your stories better until they're sent to the printer. You can always improve it. So, yes, yeah, I have and I've always every time I've made that decision, and I've made it 3 or 4 times on Painted Death, I'm like, people are really responding to this more than I expected them to. Is there any way I can improve on that element of the story? Every time I did that, the story was vastly improved because of it. I wouldn't just like do fan service or anything in a way that's detrimental to the story, like you see in Hollywood. That's not what I'm about.
But even like you were saying that like you're getting a feel for what people like and stuff. Even if what you're passionate about is really niche, you can still find success there. Like furry porn artists. There's a guy who does furry porn on Patreon and makes like $10,000 a month. So if that's your jam, or you like something equally as strange and you're passionate about it, I would go that way all the time. I think focus on your passion, and hopefully that'll come out and you'll find people that feel the same way about it. That's what I would say. What else we got here? How to get started as a Comicsgate creator, and what is the difference between a CG creator and an independent creator? I think we've covered this like to death, Bancroft. Go to the chats.
Yeah, but
hang out.
I'll probably do it. I'll do it because these are supposed to be quick videos. I mean, the intention with these videos that I'm doing is more for people who don't necessarily want to watch these 2-hour-long live streams, or for new people. It's just something you can send a quick link to, so that people can do it like that. So I will be answering that particular question.
What, like, you've got people asking, because there's another guy down here as well. So
Yeah,
there's obviously
exactly.
people are interested about it. God, I forgot what I was going to say. What? New phone, who dis? We're coming up on 2 hours, Bancroft. Is there anything else you wanted to cover? Probably should look at the giveaway. Should probably be a giveaway up.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Is that okay, Jasper? We've gone the 2 hours and we haven't mentioned it once. Can we bring it up?
Is there a single person in this chat who has not signed up to Painted Death? Because if you are the person who hasn't signed up and you're the next person, you will be the 700th sign up to Painted Death.
Sexy.
How about that? You can be that person.
I have a question for chat. How long should closeout streams go for? Do you have a preference? Do you want it short? Do you want it like an hour or 2 hours? Or do you like a big party one where it's like 4 hour plus? What do you think? Mike, what's your preference?
My preference is always to have, I shouldn't say always, almost always keep your streams at about 2 hours, 3 max, and leave the people wanting more. I don't really think it's a good habit to regularly have people like falling asleep watching your streams, or just really tiring people out. They go away, they have dinner, they have a shower, they go to sleep, they come back. But having said that, it can be a fun thing to do, those epic massive live streams once in a blue moon. This is my opinion. I know Ethan will do these 8-hour 6-hour live streams quite often. It's not my thing, but people seem to really like it.
Justice says, I hate closeout streams when the campaign ends up in demand for another year. That's fair.
That is a fair point. And I think, it'd be nice if more people took things off the campaign when it ended. So even the book is still available. There's certain elements that aren't. I didn't really do that, but I didn't really have that much to offer. So I didn't even agree on doing 30-day closeouts. I didn't even agree on that. Unless it's on your channel. So I will do it for my book, but I don't really like to do it for other people's books.
Yeah. I think like launches and closeouts are a different kettle of fish. Like they can obviously go for as long as you want to go for, but I mean like general streams, I'd honestly, I'd love to see people cap them at like 2 hours and then move on.
I
But
think
people are going to do what they're going to do.
I think Comics Get YouTube would vastly improve if everyone kept their streams under 2 hours or at 2
Oh, I
hours.
agree. Yeah, I think it would grow everyone's channel if people did that.
Yeah, like everyone would have a little bit more opportunity to stream.
Yeah.
Without streaming on top of each other. And then also, I just think that's what most people are willing to kind of sit through. And I'm not saying never have the long streams, once a month maybe, or once every 3 months. But I understand that, some of these guys are making bank on these long streams. So, that's asking them to stop making money, which I would never do. So it's just like, that's just what I think. But, I would never tell anyone what I think they should actually do.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it would benefit everyone if they were shorter. But again, it's not up to what we want. I hate the big panel. I agree. I think probably, above 5 is too many people for me. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I don't mind it on my show when I do it, because everyone seems to sort of understand the dynamic, that it's not just a free for all, that I'm still sort of captaining the ship, and I'll go to them, or if they have something to say, it doesn't get too hectic. But then again, my shows only go for an hour. It definitely can go off the rails. It's participating in those streams is difficult and can be stressful, and they also can be fun when you're like getting into it and you're getting drunk, but it's not something that I want to do all that often, because I just don't want to get drunk that often. If I'm getting drunk, I'm celebrating something big.
Yeah.
Not just it's Friday for me. It's not enough.
Yeah, especially like, you got a job, you got a family and kids. A drunk stream is good.
A lot of people love them.
Not for me.
Yeah, a lot of people love them. A lot of people hate them. I mean, each to their own. Different strokes, different folks.
Yeah.
I've had drunk streams before. I participated in drunk streams. They've been some of the most fun I've had in Comicsgate. Not something I want to do often, though. And again, that's just me.
Do you think there's like there's not an ideal, but do you have a preference for like the amount of people that you'd want to watch on a stream at one time? Like, do you think there's like
watching?
Yeah. Do you think there's like a
depends.
A good number?
Depends on the people, but anywhere between 1 and 4 is optimum for me.
Yeah.
You can go up to 5 and 6. It depends, but it really, because if a couple of them aren't, saying that much, it doesn't really matter that they're there,
Yeah.
But when you get those big 10 people panel streams, and again, I'm guilty as charged. I've done them as well. Yeah, it's definitely not fun for me to watch them, even though I have had fun participating in them.
Some people love them though. Some people love them.
Yeah, lots of people watch them.
If Ryan says different strokes for different folks. Bancroft bringing it back to the auto blow replicator. Oh my god, I still can't get over it. That's crazy. Billy says I got wrecked on Michael's 300th episode 7-hour stream with Shelby.
Yeah. I got wrecked on a bunch of streams, screaming about onion rings and all sorts of shit. And I'll do it again, but it'll be a celebration. There was a time when we were doing it every Friday night, and I was having fun because it was new. It was a new experience, but eventually it was like, oh, we're going to do this again. And I'd be in the mood at the time, but then I'd realize like that kind of the next day you're sort of wrecked, and I don't have that kind of time. I can't just throw away an entire Saturday.
We're not 18 anymore, Mike.
Well, it's not even that. It's like I got pages to do. I can't be sleeping in because I got blind drunk for no reason. You know, when you're campaigning, it's different. It's all part of it. Like you're making money, so it's, you know, there's a reason to do it. When people are having fun, they're spending money, so it's like, yeah, you're making money, you're selling books, you're having fun, you're drinking, hanging out with friends. It's all cool. But when it's just like, you know, let's just do it because that's, yeah, you know, I'm not really going to do that.
I'm trying, like, people in chat are saying they prefer smaller streams or chats because of the chat interaction. I'm trying to think of a situation where I don't prefer that. Like, I think I prefer that every time. I can't, like, sometimes the big shows are great for a closeout or a launch because you get sucked up in that hype. But for me, it's all about the chat interaction. Moromi says, when the panel is paywalling themselves on alcohol, it feels like they aren't enjoying themselves and I turn it off. It's interesting.
Paywalling themselves. Hang on. Can you go back to that?
So he's saying that, you know, like Jason Smoot, for example, it's like, you know, $50 shot time. That's what he's saying. And probably says,
yeah, like they have to have a shot or something.
Yeah. And Proby says talking over each other on live streams are the worst part of a show. And that's the thing. When you get like above 4 or 5 people, it's impossible not to. Like you, and especially like if you're trying to get a word in, and you know, some people are talkers. They just talk and talk and talk, you know, so you can't avoid that. Crackhead says the bigger channels pay little to no attention to the regular chat, where the smaller shows have much better interaction. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's just the nature of the, you know, more people in the chat. I mean, eventually any channel gets big enough, even if they're spending an entire show interacting with the chat, they're only going to be catching a small percentage of it.
Yeah. Mobiggs, the worst moments of talking over tend to happen when the host is finally reading one of my comments. Dude, this happens to you all the time, and Bancroft is the number one culprit. I'll have a chat like highlighted up on the screen, and then Bancroft will be going on for about 4 minutes about something random, and by that time I've already moved on and it's gone.
Happens to everyone, Rob. Happens to everyone.
Stephen Rockwood, in the past few weeks, I've grown super annoyed by the drunken streams. Seems like they do it every night and they aren't entertaining. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I like it when Bancroft does drunken streams because they're very rare, and they are when something big.
Well, it's an
happened.
event too. It's like we made 3,000 subs, or we're closing out the Lucent, or something like that. It's not. Yeah, but you know, this is the thing. There's so many different kinds of streams out there. You know, there's production streams, there's topic streams, there's entertainment streams, and now there's like drunk on your ass streams. People are liking each and every one. You know, if it's not for you, then hopefully there'll be something else on at the same time.
Ryan says Rob throwing Bancroft under the bus.
Welcome to the show, Ryan.
I know, right? Why would I ever let
this is the theme?
Why would I ever let him up from under the bus? All right. We've got 50 people in here. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Please hit like and subscribe.
50 people, and I can't even get a single person sign up to Paint to Death. God damn it.
Make sure, like I said, please hit subscribe. Sign up to the giveaway. It's free. You just got to enter your email address. You can win one of these 5 amazing, outstanding prizes. This one here, for example, the Graveyard Shift one, Jasper says it's probably sells for over $500. So have a look, get yourself on it. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Do you want to play us out with that video again, Bancroft? Because that was just sensational.
Well, it's in the thing. I'm still sharing it.
Okay.
Welcome to Storytime. Today we have a lovely book for you called This Is Rob. So let's get started. This is Rob. Rob doesn't like much of anything. Rob doesn't like fold-out posters.
It's a bit slow, Mike. You need to speed it up a little bit.
I'm thinking
Rob doesn't like feelings.
Or music or something.
He doesn't like...
You might get sound effects. Hang on, we'll come back in while we're playing it out. Oh, that one.
I'm thinking like Play School. You know, they have sound effects as they're reading.
Like talking, and he certainly doesn't like making new friends.
I'm not good at making new friends.
Rob doesn't like
Oh,
enjoying things. He doesn't like fun. He doesn't like jokes. He doesn't like laughing. That was until he got funded. Now Rob loves streaming.
Why is that post-it note really long?
Oh, well. Just is.
Just
It
is.
had to fit between now and loves.
Oh, okay.
Blame Mel.
He
She did all
likes
the post-
comics. He likes video games. And he really likes grumbling. Almost as much as he
there
likes...
I could go like, womp womp.
Sniff, sniff.
You got to put what is it from? Curb Your Enthusiasm, that like little end part they do. You put it on the Ethan video you did of me.
Oh, that music.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I'll see.
Ribs.
Mel says,
Mel
go
right.
on.
He likes the
blame
smell
me.
of ribs.
See how that goes for
He
you.
likes the shape of ribs. But most of all, he likes to talk about ribs. And he isn't the only one. But Rob absolutely, definitely doesn't like to share.
That's a lie.
Sometimes
Hey,
I
it's in the
think
book.
Rob doesn't like
Truthful.
anything. Except ribs.
Hope I have ribs for dinner. That'd be nice.
And me.
Look, you're giving me a rib.
Beautiful. All right, guys. Catch you all later.
Hang on. It's a real book.
That's great. That's fantastic. Let's go full screen. Show it again.
Yeah. It's a real book.
Amazing. Good work.